I want to thank you for joining me today. And before we get started, as always, all messages that are released on this channel are my truth. And that is exactly what it is and what it always will be. And that is my truth. Now, my truth consists of a bunch of experiences that I gained clarity from, which ultimately took me back to the real me, which is truth. Now, when I try to convince you that my truth is the gospel, however, my truth is the gospel for me. That does not make it the gospel for you, nor will I ever try to make it the gospel for you. By me being on this platform, I am simply placing breadcrumbs on a path that I've already walked. Now, you find yourself on a similar path and you resonate with said breadcrumbs and you say, you know what, I like that. I want to follow that. And that's cool. If not, that is cool as well. My purpose is to assist those who are ready to get out of their own way. So let's get right into it. All right, so let's jump right in. Just wanted to come on here, put out a quick message. And that message is you can't take everyone with you. And this was a very hard one for me because naturally I love everyone and I want everyone to rise up and succeed. And if you're in my life, my goal is to make sure you feel loved and appreciated. Now I learned this from trauma, basically. I never felt that growing up. So everyone in my life, I wanted to make sure that they felt loved and appreciated. But then I had to learn that this was not my job to make sure everybody is good, because in the end, who's making sure I'm good? So I was putting more focus on others than myself. And then when you put that same energy into yourself as you were putting into others, your life has no choice but to change. And this is what I found out to be true, 100% true. I wasn't putting in any extra effort. Just that same energy that I was putting into others, I started putting into myself. And then I started to feel better. I started to love myself more. I started to see things differently. Everything, because of that energy, I kept putting it out. Your energy, I look at my energy as an investment, right? So I want to invest in things that obviously give me a return on my investment, as you should. Nobody wants to invest in things and just basically throw your money away. Your energy is the same exact thing. That's your currency. So I was investing a lot of energy into other individuals and they were taking that energy and going to do whatever they want to with it. But they were not investing that energy back into me. So there was no return on that investment. So I had to learn that. Galatians 6:5, for every man shall bear his own burden. And that was the issue. So for a long time, I was carrying others' burdens. I found out that by doing this, I was making life much harder for myself. And if you let the love that you have for someone override your better judgment, it could end up costing you more than you're willing to lose. And that was my biggest lesson, trying to help everyone and make sure that this person was good. But what I was doing was basically taking on their burdens. And I could be in a certain place in my life and connecting with these individuals, then my life starts to tumble down because you're taking on their burdens. You're accepting their karma. You're saying, hey, I know you're giving them karma right now, but let me take some of that karma. And that's what would happen. So be careful about who you're helping. Luke 9:6, and Jesus said unto him, let the dead bury the dead, but go thou and preach the kingdom of God. You can't wait for everyone to wake up to the truth of God. Sometimes you have to walk away from what's familiar to you to go on the journey that God has called you to do. Everyone, like I said in the very beginning, everyone can't go with you. When God, source, wherever you want to call it, is speaking to you, it's a one-on-one conversation. He's not calling you on speaker for everyone to hear it. It's a one-on-one conversation. So what is said is meant for you to do. So when I was going through all of these different changes and when I got on my path and I started to tell people, hey, you know, this is how you got to address this. This is how you heal this and this. But I was still stuck in that situation because I was just learning these things fresh. right? So I'm giving them information. Then I notice, okay, they're not even trying to hear this. Then I noticed the amount of effort I had to do in order to put those changes. Then I had to realize, you know what? This is a lot of work. And if you don't want to put in this amount of work, it's not going to work for you. So I had to leave those individuals where they are. And it's reminds me of Plato's allegory of the cave. And I'll give you a short synopsis of the book. Basically, it was a group of individuals, they're strapped or chained to a wall, right? And there's a flame, a fire behind them. And as people walk on the other side of this flame outside of the cave, their reflections are on the wall. So these people can't go see the outside of the cave. So they're only seeing the reflections of people walking by. So they think that this is reality that they're living in. And then one of the people escape from the wall. They go outside, they see all these people, they see this, and they try to go back in and say, hey guys, you break these chains. It's a whole world out here and this and that and blah, 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 and yada, 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 right? And basically they don't believe this person. And now this person is an outcast. Now he's the evil one, and this, that, and the other. That's exactly how my experience went as well. Is once you break free of those chains and you try to assist others, if they're not willing to change, you're going to look like the bad guy. You're going to be the evil one. Go and check that story out. Now, it's very interesting. But I'm going to continue on. 2 Corinthians 6:17. Wherefore come out from among them, be ye separate, said the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. We all have separate paths, and this is the soul's journey. And you might have to separate from family, friends, job, and so on in order to get on the path that you're supposed to be on. But as long as you stay attached to those individuals who are doing quote unquote unclean things, you're going to share that same energy. And those people are going to keep you off of your path. And some people are put in our life just to do that, keep you off of your path. That's what their whole entire mission is, to keep you off of your path. We come here for separate things. Remember that. If you're brave enough to say goodbye, life will reward you with a new hello. That's Paulo Coelho. Like I said, you have to be willing to walk away from what no longer serves in order to step into your new world. You'll never step into your new season while holding on to things from the past. And if you're raising your vibration, making changes in your life, and trying to be on the right path, but people in your life don't want to change, those people aren't serving your purpose, they're going to become an anchor. If you are, let's say you're trying to vibrate at 500, and that's their inner love, but you're associated with a bunch of people who are stuck in fear, which is 100. That rope is not going to allow you to get to that 500 mark, because your energy is constantly going to be feeding those at 100. It's a give and take. Universe likes balance. So if you're connected with certain individuals, your energies are going to be balanced between you. So you have to be careful with who you're connecting your energy to. And like I say, for me, this was hard because of the quote unquote titles. This is such and such, your mom, your dad, whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter if those individuals are not going the same direction as you. You will have to separate from them if you're trying to be on your purpose or on the right path, let's say. Not everyone would have the heart you have. Tony Gaskins Jr. Now, it took me forever to accept and see that and stop making excuses for others when you know they're doing things wrong to you. It was crazy that I would literally watch people and they would think they're getting over on me because I see everything. And for a long time, I would just act like I didn't see it, or the majority of the time I would try to do almost like reverse psychology, and tell these people without telling them, hey, I see what you're doing, fool. Because when I used to do that, everybody denied it, and it just aggravated me and pissed me off. So then I tried to, okay, let me try it another way. Let me give them hints, because I know in order for a change to stick and it to mean something, you have to decide it. So I wanted them to decide to want to change, because I didn't want to kick them out of my life. Because I know once I kick you out, that's it. No coming back and, oh, I'm changed. And nah, you're done. You're done. Because I saw what your intentions were. That's the biggest thing for me, is your intentions. Not what you did, the intentions behind what you did. That's why I don't let individuals back in my life. So, like I said, I'd stopped making excuses for them. And that's basically when everything fell apart, because the only reason the relationship continued as far as it is because of the effort that I was putting in it. Like I said, these are relationships that I was the one constantly investing the energy in and receiving nothing in return. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, and those who are seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. As I said earlier, when God, source, the divine, is speaking in your ear, it's a private conversation. So don't expect those outside of you to understand why you're doing what you're doing, how you're moving, why you're doing it this way, and so on. They don't hear that same music that you're hearing. So you have to go ahead and dance to the beat that you're hearing. Carl Jung, people would do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls. If somebody believes something is true, this is what I found out. If they believe it's true, they're not wanting to change. When you're coming in with some truth and it's going to shake up their entire world, and they've been living by a certain belief or patterns for their entire life, that's scary to a lot of people. For me, I'd rather have truth. No matter how devastating, hard it is, I'd rather have truth, because that's how you heal, is by knowing truth. Genesis 12:1. Now the Lord had said unto Abraham, Get thee out of the country and from thy kindred and from the father's house until a land I will show. It's just saying it over and over again. Sometimes you need to leave what's familiar to go where God wants you to be. I'm going to leave that there. And as always, if you got anything out of this message, I ask you to like, subscribe, and I will definitely check you in the next one.